Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing my books I've read in October video, and I didn't read as many books as I had wished I had this month, but I'm going to talk about books that I've read, books that I'm currently reading, and books that I plan to read for next month, just to add some more substance to this video. So, starting off with the first book that I read this month, it is Bewitched by Alex Flinn, which I'll have a little picture of the book right here in my palm, hopefully. If it's not there, then I feel really stupid. But Alex Flinn is the author, the woman who wrote Beastly, which, if you haven't seen the movie with Vanessa Hudgens and Alex Pettyfer, it is basically a modern take on Beauty and the Beast. And she also wrote A Kiss in Time, which, if you've read that, it's a modern take on Sleeping Beauty. And basically, Bewitched is all about the witch Kendra, who casts the spells in both of those books. And it starts out the book with telling you, like, you know, like, it's all from her point of view most of the time, unless you're with the other girls. But the beginning of the book starts in her point of view, and it is about the 1600s, I believe, is when it starts. And it's saying how she, you know, came to find out that, hey, I'm a witch. And it's just basically, like, it tells, like, the story of, like, the Little Mermaid, which is really cool. And most of the book centers around Lisette and Emma, which is a modern day take on Cinderella with a twist. So, out of 5, I would give this book probably a 3.5. And by the way, my ratings go, 1 is, it was really hard to get through this book. I would never, ever read anything by this author. Number 2 is, it was hard to get through this book, but I understood what the author is kind of saying. A 3 is, this book was so-so, you know. I'd read something from the author, but it wasn't anything special for me. A 4 is, I would definitely read something by the author, but the characters didn't really make me feel anything. The plot didn't really make me upset or anything. And a 5 is, this book is awesome. I would read it again and again. And I can relate to the characters. The characters were awesome and very well developed. So those are my ratings. So, Bewitched would probably get a 3.5, which basically means this book was so-so, but I'd read something by the author again. The half that it gets is that I have read stuff by the author, and it is just as good, but it is a girl's book. I don't recommend it to guys, if any guys are watching this video, but it is a very girly book. But it's cool that she takes these fairy tales and makes them modernized, and I really like that concept. So, moving on to the second book, it is called Breathing Underwater by, guess who? Alex Flinn. And that just goes to show you that, yes, I do read. If I give it a 3 or up, I will read something by the author that wrote that book, like another book by them. And this one is basically about a boy named Nicholas, and he basically got a restraining order from his ex-girlfriend because he slapped her once. And it's, the judge makes him write this journal, recording everything from when he met her to when he slapped her, and kind of things that went on after that. And it basically follows him through these, like, anger management meetings that he has to go to. And out of 5, I would give this book a 5. The characters made me so mad and so frustrated, and sometimes when you're in Nicholas's, like, train of thought, it's making you think, like, do boys really think this? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, does a boy really think that he has this much control over the girl that he's dating? And that is what makes the book for me. If I can relate to the characters and they make me upset, they make me sad, they make me mad, then I'm gonna like that book a lot. So, I was kind of confused when I read it, though, because it wasn't a modern take on a fairy tale. But I'm pretty sure that it was written by Alex Flinn. It is kind of her style writing, kind of not. It might be a totally different author, I could be totally wrong, but I really enjoyed that book and I definitely recommend it. The next book that I read is Insurgent, which is the second book in the Divergent series, which is by Veronica Roth. And Insurgent basically is everything that happens after Divergent ends, with a cliffhanger. And this book is just like that one. It ends with this huge cliffhanger where you're just kind of like, oh, okay, so thanks, Veronica Roth. We gotta wait until next fall for the next Divergent book, and it's so frustrating. And out of 5, I would give this a 4, just because I'm kind of acquainted with the characters already, so it wasn't as good for me as Divergent was, because I feel like in Divergent the characters were very developed. Like, you could see them, like, Triss was such a dynamic character. She was like very shy and, you know, kind of quaint in the beginning, and then she was like, you know, this really cool, like, you know, action kind of girl at the end, and that's what made that book really good for me. But Insurgent was a good book too. It left me hanging. I really want to know what happens, but I'm also still like kind of confused on what they're referring to is like outside of like the city that they're protecting everybody from. I'm pretty sure, I'm not gonna say anything, no, because that would spoil the book. Sorry. So nah, that's a 4. Alright, so books that I am currently reading are Crossed by Condie, and this is the second book in the Match series, which, if you have not read the Match series, it is basically this dystopian era where if you're like around like my age, like 15, 16, you go to this ceremony where you are matched with whoever will be like your life partner, and this girl gets matched up with 2 guys, Xander and Kai, and basically she was matched, everybody saw that she was matched up with Xander, but she only knows that she was matched up with Kai too, and she actually falls in love with Kai and everything, and this book basically follows her and Kai and kind of Xander after Kai and Cassia, I think is how you say her name. I'm not quite sure. I don't really like the futuristic names that some dystopian books have because they're really hard to pronounce. But this book so far is basically a 2. It's just, it's really hard to get through. I've had this book for about 3 weeks now. It's really hard to get through. I don't know. It's frustrating. The other book that I'm reading is a little kid, it's kind of like a little kid book, like an elementary school book, but it is a Mary Downing Hahn book, and it is called All the Lovely Bad Ones, and it is about this brother and sister, Travis and Corey, who go over the summer to live with their grandmother at this haunted inn, well, haunted inn that their grandmother owns, and basically they find out that a couple decades ago the inn used to be haunted, and that's why people would come to see the ghosts, and then when their grandmother bought the inn, people started to leave because the ghosts weren't there anymore. And so Travis and Corey think it's a great idea to, you know, start freaking the guests out and getting more people to come by acting like a ghost, and apparently they think that they awoke the ghosts that used to be there, like the ghosts were dormant and now they are alive again, in a sense of how alive a ghost can be. But so far, this book is a 3. It's not as hard to get through. It's really short. It is a little kid book, so I can't be too hard on it. And Mary Downing Hahn, I read some of her other books, and I really like them. So for books that I'm planning to read in November, I am going to just kind of give you the gist of the books that I have lined up to read. The first one is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, I think is how you say his name, and if you guys don't know what The Perks of Being a Wallflower is about, then shame on you. Yeah. The other books are actually over there, but I don't feel like getting them, so I'll just talk about them. The other books are Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger. I'm finally going to get around to reading that. The other book is Unwholly by Neal Shusterman. If you guys have ever heard of the Unwholly series, which is a dystopian series, Unwholly is the second book in that series. It's going to be a trilogy. He decided that he wanted to make it a trilogy, and I didn't like how Unwholly ended. I love the book. I hated how it ended. So I'm so excited that it has another, like, it's going to keep going. You're going to find out more. And so I'm really excited to read that. The last book that I plan to read for November, if I get around to reading any more, then that will be a miracle, is Tess of D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. And Tess of D'Urbervilles is a classic novel. I saw I don't think it's BBC, but one of those like history-oriented channels made a Tess of D'Urbervilles TV series with the girl from Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. The girl that plays the princess in there, she plays Tess in the series, and I loved it. I watched it over the summer. It made me so mad, so I'm going to try and see if the book makes me just as mad, earning a 5 or not. So I'm really excited to read that. So those were all of the books that I read for October, books I'm currently reading, and books I plan to read for November. And I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!